All right. Welcome. Really excited today about today's webinar, how to optimize your website for maximum conversion and lead flow. So without further ado, let's begin. So when I think about your overall internet marketing strategy, when I think about the things that you want to be doing to get the phones ringing and keep your funeral home busy, I think about things in terms of this model, which we call the accelerated growth model. Now, this looks at what are the key areas you need to focus on in your online marketing in order to accelerate growth and take things to the next level. And really, it comes down to driving leads and maximizing conversion. So we drive leads through organic, making sure that our website comes up in the non-paid listings, making sure we're coming up in the directory listings, we're showing up where our customers are looking. And the great thing about organic is we don't have to pay every time somebody clicks on us, right? And when we don't have to pay for every lead that we generate, it's these types. How do we get that done? It's the types of things that we do on our website, our content, our authority, that helps us drive that organic traffic. So in addition to that, we want to drive traffic through, paid channels like Google ads, local service ads, and Facebook ads, and other advertising channels. Sorry about that. Other advertising channels in order to drive traffic. Now, I showed you this model, and this is really just a visual representation. And this piece here, really, it just goes in more specifically within each of these categories and what it means, right, for you, what you have to focus on in every single piece in order to accelerate growth through a model like the accelerated growth model, right? And today we're really going to be focusing on your website, right? Maximizing the conversion on your website, right? We want to convert, 2 to 10x more leads from the visitors that you get to your website without spending a ton on fancy web design. Because the truth is, sometimes there can be a beautiful website and it doesn't convert. You will even get people to your website and it doesn't convert. And by convert, what I mean by that is you want people to call, right? People are getting to your website. You may actually be running ads and you may be paying for people to get there, but the people aren't calling. They're not making an inquiry. And even if you have a beautiful site, there are certain factors that go into this, right? There's certain principles. In the website design world, they're called UI, UX, right? User interface and user experience. So we want the user interface and user experience to really be great so that when a person gets on your website, typically in that need family, right? They're going to get on your website and they're going to know where to click. They're going to have an easy way to reach out to you. So we're going to be going through all of that. And all of that, as I mentioned, there's the accelerated growth model. And all of this makes up part of what we call in our agency the Eternal Marketing for Funeral Homes program, right? This is part of our program on how we build all of this. So if you don't mind, just some housekeeping for a moment, please, let's, close all the other tabs. Just focus on this for the next 45 minutes or so, and I'll show you specific things that you can do on your website, right? I'm going to show you specific examples of things that you can do and things that you shouldn't be doing that are very common out there. And I'll show you those examples as well. And all of this is going to be very practical and actionable. And I believe that you'll walk away with some great value. So why should you listen to me and who am I? I have over 10 years experience in different aspects of digital marketing, from technical SEO to meta ads, email marketing. I definitely have a track record of success Our organization has helped hundreds of small to medium-sized businesses generate over $100 million. I'm also a mentor to other agency owners, helping small marketing agencies become million-dollar businesses. Now, this is Funeral Marketing Pros. This is what we do, right? As an organization, we focus on funeral homes, and we focus as a full service digital marketing agency. We have over 16 employees now, and this is what we do day in and day out. We build the websites, we write the content, we optimize the search campaigns, we optimize the paid services, we put the marketing automations in place with the goal of helping you triple your sales by getting your internet marketing right. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the problem. The challenge as I see it is you're either not making an investment in marketing and you're not growing, or you're making a big investment in marketing as a whole, and that's going to include radio ads, yellow pages, and more. And you spend a lot of money on Google ads, but we either don't get the lead flow that we need, or we've spent the money and we just don't have the results to show for it, right? And when that happens, really, I as a business owner, I need to make sure that there's a return on investment. And unfortunately, good, better, or worse, there's just a lot of people selling these internet marketing services. And it's not infrequent that I hear, I spent the money, but I didn't get the return on investment. I got maybe a few leads, a few calls. We were able to break even, but it wasn't super profitable. And this can be really, really frustrating. And that can be really frustrating because what it's going to lead to is an empty schedule. And with an empty schedule, we're faced with bigger challenges, right? First of all, we've trained people, we've gone through the trouble of hiring people. We need to keep them busy. And the challenges that we're seeing in the market today, people are more sensitive to price today more than ever. And you may need to offer more budget-friendly options. And this would mean that in order to compensate for that, you might need more leads. We also need to evolve. We need to evolve as an industry and really plug into the internet today. And what time and time again, I speak to funeral homes and they tell me, listen, I've been really inconsistent with my marketing. We're running radio ads, we're running ads in the yellow pages, but they haven't really stepped into the internet age, and they're not really aware of all of the things that you can do online. So tonight we'll go through a few of those things today. And when you don't have enough lead flow and your phone isn't ringing, eventually you might lose those employees. And if you don't evolve, you might get left behind, and then you'll be forced to either sell for pennies on the dollar or close. So it's really important that we have the right strategy in place for all of this. And really, what we focused on today is making sure that you have a great website that's built to convert. So what we want to do is we want to bring you to a place where you're consistently convert your visitors into leads at the highest level possible. And this is going to lead to a full schedule. And with a full schedule, you and using internet marketing, this gives you the ability to really control that dial and say, hey, I can be confident and go out, and maybe I plan on expanding. Maybe I plan on having new hires or having an apprentice program. It gives you the confidence to be able to do all this because your lead flow is predictable. And once you have that, you really enter into a state of constant momentum and growth within your business. And this is success. This is really what we're after. So, ringing, business booming, and if that sounds like stay with me because we have a lot of great things to share with you. So, the hub. Let's talk a little bit about this. I believe this wholeheartedly. Your website is the hub. And so you might be doing a lot of different types of marketing, whether you're doing internet based marketing like SEO, search engine optimization, where you're trying to like people are searching for a funeral home near them and you're coming up at the top of Google or Bing. You might be doing pay-per-click advertising like Google Ads. You might be doing local service ads, but either way, radio ads, or even, I know that a lot of us are getting referrals, which are always welcome, but what do people do when they hear about your funeral home? Ultimately, what happens is when a family's ready, they're going to search for your business name. They're going to search for your funeral home name, and they're going to wind up on your website. And if your website is not built to convert, it's going to have a negative impact on all of the other advertising and brand awareness that you've done. So why is conversion so important, right? And I'm just going to show you a scenario of a website that converts well versus one that doesn't, and how that has financial ramifications, right? Now on your screen, as you see, if you have 1,500 visitors per month, right? And this is usually in medium to large um, uh, populated areas, right? You'll get 1,500 visitors per month. You're running ads. You're bringing people onto your website. The average site converts at 3 to 5%. Okay, I know that's hard to believe, but when people are out there and they're searching, there are many factors that go into whether or not they're going to actually call you, and that's what we're going to go through. So they got to your website. Only 5%, only 5 out of every 100 people are actually calling you. So in that case, say that this brings you 75 leads. So these 75 people who are actually doing, actively looking and calling. And of that, let's just say that you convert 30% of those people, right? This would mean that you get 22 calls from the internet. And that on average, let's just say a $4,500 average transaction, which I know to some of you may seem low. The national average really ranges, right, from 7 to 10,000. But that's for full service, and we have cremation, which is a lower price. So let's just say a 4,500 average transaction will lead you to $99,000, right? After all of our overhead and expenses, this isn't really going to make a big difference. However, scenario 2, if we can bump your conversion up 3 times and we go from 5% to 15% conversion, right? So now 15% of people that are getting on your website are actually calling you. This will lead you to 225 leads. Let's just say that we are still converting those leads into families that we're actually going to serve at 30%, right? And this is going to lead to 67 calls, 67 more calls for your funeral home. At the same average transaction of $4,500, the difference is just over $300,000. So as we see this, you'll notice that conversion, the factors that allow people to actually pick up the phone and call, are really going to make a difference on the amount of revenue that you can actually generate for your funeral home. I hope all of that makes sense. Now, so we already went over the math on this. By the way, I wanted to share this with you. We have a great workbook. I'm going to just open this up just to pinpoint this as a reference. I'm not going to base the entire webinar on this, but I think that this would be a good reference for you to keep and to actually work on. This is available here at tinyurl.com/web convert. And this is really going to help you. At least it contains checklists and examples that will definitely help you after the webinar. So please feel free to download that. Now, so let's get into 12 critical factors for conversion. And I'm going to talk bullets here, and we're going to get into example after example after example so that you can see in real world how this plays out on a real website and how that like kind of translates into increased lead flow, increased growth, and ultimately increased revenue. So there are 12 critical things that we want to look at here. First, does your website speak to your target avatar, right? You have to know who is coming to your website in order to speak to them or write the content and copy correctly. What are their fears and frustrations? Why should they choose you, right? Second, and we're going to go over how we can actually, we've already mapped that out with our experience, and we're going to give that to you here. Number two, be real, right? Use authentic images of your team on your homepage and throughout the website. If you are family owned, put a picture of the family there. Too many websites out there are just using stock imagery. They're using, a free website that was provided by a flower company. They include some stock imagery and they think that that's enough, and it's not. People want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And the only way that they can know you virtually is by actually seeing you. So we'll get into that a little bit further. You should be using video and multimedia elements to engage different modalities. So if you can have a welcome video on your website, that would be helpful. Videos for each of your services. What does cremation look like? If you're doing life celebration, all of these things. And then why people should be contacting you over the competition. Trust me, most of your competitors out there are not even doing this yet. So if you step it up and you are one of the first ones to actually do this, you already have an advantage in your market. Leverage social proof, right? You want to showcase your online reviews prominently on your homepage. That's how people get to trust you. They want to see what other people have to say about you. And studies have shown that online reviews are oftentimes almost just as impactful as getting a recommendation from someone that they know personally. So there's no reason that you shouldn't have this coming out at them, right? You have to get your basics in order. When people come onto your website, they may be in a frantic state. They may need someone to talk to right away. They don't know what to do, who to turn to, and they want to call you. But if your phone number isn't prominent, then what do? They typically will click away and go on to another site, right? Someone just went onto Google. They Googled funeral home near me. They're only clicking on maybe two, maybe two funeral homes, maybe three, and they're going to go towards the ones that they can get in touch to the fastest. And then depending on how you handle those calls, of course, will depend on whether they're going to convert into a family that you're actually going to serve, right? So you want to ensure that on your website, there's a web form that customers can fill out. And you want to do that because what happens when someone is in hospice and a family member is with them, right? You have someone who's planning on, okay, what's the next step going to be? And they're sitting there with their phones in their hand and they're researching and they want to reach out to someone, but they can't talk on the phone at that point. So we want to give them, web forms don't typically convert very high, but we want to give them every opportunity to contact us, right? And then again, just like adding your social proof, you want to add credibility with any authority symbols, right? If you are connecting with your local chamber of commerce, Rotary Club, Kiwanis, any of the associations in this industry, put their logos on your website so that people know that you're active in the community and that you're also active in your industry. Now, you want to ensure that you have clear call to action on each page that speak to your customer avatar and tell them what to do next. Many of you out there are also looking for pre-need clients. And if you have a page that explains pre-need and what options you have for them, on that very same page, you should say, and to this is the next step. Call this number now, or fill out this form, or schedule this appointment, right? Or chat with us now, which we'll go over next. You want to use calls to actions, right? That's the CTAs is call to actions. And calls to actions are basically when you go on a website and you look at buttons, and those buttons say, click here for this, click here for that. And you want those calls to action to match the service that they are in need of, right? Click here for help now. Make sure that your website is mobile optimized with an easy click to call function. This is super, super important because we know that on average, from the analytics that we look at, we know that 50 to 70% of people who are actually taking action are doing so from a mobile device, cell phone, right? So when they're on that phone, if your website does not look good on a cell phone, if you don't have the proper calls to actions, if they're sitting in a computer and you look at your website and it looks great, I challenge you, go on your cell phone and make sure that it also looks great there. Because if it doesn't, and they don't have the instructions, the call to actions, in certain placements, right? What we call above the fold. For those of you who aren't familiar with that, above the fold basically means that without having to scroll down, okay, or up, whatever you want to call it, they're able to take action right then and there, right? Now, this is something that I notice almost no funeral home is doing, that's leveraging live chat. today's day and age, especially in at need, okay? Who are the people who are being faced with the challenge of planning for a loved one's death? It's usually what we call the sandwich generation. And the sandwich generation today, a good portion of those people prefer not to pick up the phone and call, but they prefer to text and chat online. So you need to have that function readily available on your website. And over the next, few years, that popularity is only going to increase. So this is a very strong mechanism that you have available to you. Start giving clients the option to schedule a meeting with a funeral director online. So if there's a funeral director, if there's a person who is in a hospital, in hospice, they're not ready to talk on the phone, but they want to speak to someone, a funeral director, and they want to schedule that, give them the option to do that, to have a meeting. Now, number 11 says site speed matters. What does this mean? This basically means that when you get to a website, you don't want to wait for it to load. Like, you don't want to sit there. No one wants to sit there and actually wait. What people want to do more often than not is they want to go ahead and they want it to pop up instantaneously. And there are some great tools that will tell us the loading speed of our website. The site speed is not only directly related to the experience that people who are landing on your website have, but it's also directly related to how Google is going to rank your website. When someone is looking for a funeral home near them, where's Google going to place you? If they see that your site loads too slow, they're not going to place you towards the top. I'll tell you that. So definitely on the technical end, site speed, it should be measured and should be fast. And then let's talk a little bit about automations. I'm really going to go into this towards the end of this because I notice, again, there's just not enough people out there who are leveraging automations. So automations, if you miss a call, those people need to be contacted within seconds, and you can do this with automations. Okay, so we're going to be talking about marketing automations. I'll dive deeper into that. Now, what is the one element that will have the biggest impact of, on the results of your overall internet marketing efforts? And the answer to that is a well optimized website. Okay. This is a well optimized website. And here you can see some of the things that I talked about, right? Phone numbers at the top of the page, a different phone number for a different service. You have a different phone number for pre-planning, right? Than you do for probably an at need situation. Real pictures showing the real pictures actually will show you personality, authenticity, um, and people will want to do business with people that they get to know. This paints a story, right? In this situation here, you see a family that is there. They own the funeral home. So this makes people feel like this is a real business and there are real people there, right? Also notice that the calls to action are above the fold, right? And as you see that call us today, that's a call to action. And no one has to actually scroll to see that. So that's a great example there. Here we have an example of a website that is built to convert for people who want to buy flowers, basically. This is a funeral home website. It's going to remain anonymous, but this is the typical example of what we see, right? It's a free website that's given to people, that's given to businesses from these flower companies, and basically they're optimized to to buy flowers. They're not optimized for families to actually contact them. So when someone's on their phone, they're actually searching for a funeral home, they're searching for help, they're at need. This is what they see. What action do you believe they're going to take? Right? Now, what you see here is what we call a landing page, right? Now, we could have specific landing pages so people take specific actions. And these are typically used with Google Ads. What we want to do is we want to measure, are we getting the conversions? Are we getting the people to contact us? The number of people, the percentage of people, of visitors to contact us that we want directly from our website? Are they doing what we want? And if not, let's not waste hard-earned dollars. Let's create a landing page that will bring people directly to this page so that they can go ahead and convert right there. We want to create a page that has single focus, right? There's not a lot going on. There's not they're not looking for pre-need in this case. They're looking for someone. So what to do when someone dies. This is exactly what people are asking themselves, and there's a phone number. That's it. They also have a chat bot or a chat widget. I'm sorry, a chat widget where they can actually go back and forth and talk to someone online, right? These pages tend to help with when you're not getting the conversions that you need. But you need to know, you need to be able to do the A/B tests and have a look at this. Now, here's another example. Is your website set to convert visitors to callers, right? Again, this is taken from, taken from a mobile screenshot where someone is online, right? And they get to a site, and basically all they get is recent memorials and obituaries. That's it. There's a menu on the top. People probably won't take time to click there. and a generic stock image of a butterfly. Um, Again, if you are a family at need and you website, what action would you take? Excuse me. Now, what action do we want? We want websites that perform like this, right? Here's a website. Like I said earlier, it had almost 1,500 site visitors. We looked at 1,454. And if we look at it, how many people call? 32.39%, right? Now, here's another one. This is another example of a website on mobile that is built to convert visitors to callers. If you see right away, they're giving people the option available 24/7, call us. If they click there, that should automatically dial from a mobile phone, from a mobile device. The part where they speak Spanish, that's you have to give people options to speak to people in to communicate the way that they prefer, right? So you have to have those options available. Here is another site. Again, 1,000 sessions converting at 38.33%, right? Brought in 299 calls, 299 leads. This is the type of conversion that you're looking for. So, how can we get your website to convert like that? First thing is your avatar, what I mentioned earlier. If you see Joe Jones through Joe Jones's eyes, then you can sell what Joe Jones buys. You have to try to put yourself in the seat of the person who's visiting your website. Think of the situation they're in. Think of who they are, right? And what we want to look at is we want to look at their pains and frustrations, their goals and desires, their fears and implications, and their dreams and aspirations. And here's a list. Sorry, here's a list that we've put together, right? So this is again our experience with at need. We're often looking at, you know, and again it depends. So some of this does vary, but this we put together for several of the funeral homes that we have worked with. We have, you know, we look at the demographics. Who is most likely clicking here? You know, people ages 45 to 65. Um, the female is often the primary decision maker for funeral arrangements. We have to think of their marital status. Um, Sandwich means, you know, they have children, adult children, possibly grandchildren, and they've been taking care of their parents. Occupation levels, income levels, education. Where are they located? Of course, this is going to depend on your funeral home. You know, home ownership, religion, and spiritual beliefs. This is very important because people in certain areas are going to be influenced. You know, their religious beliefs are going to influence the choices that they make. What kind of relationship does your funeral home have with chaplains in the area? Think about the values, the family values that this person who's calling you has. Um, do they respect are they looking for something more traditional or are they looking for something new, right? What concerns do they have, right? They're worried about making respectful and appropriate arrangements within a reasonable budget. Pains and frustrations that they're dealing with at that time, emotional stress, time constraints, financial pressure, urgency, quality concerns, the family dynamics involved, and the transparency, right? They're usually feeling frustrated. There's unclear, and I won't say that we are unclear in pricing, but the problem is that they're just so many options and there's so many variables that they are unfamiliar with, right? So they're frustrated by all of this. They're frustrated, they're scared of making the wrong choice. They're scared of taking on a cost that they really can't handle. They're scared that the service is the quality of the service is not going to be there. Is are there going to be family problems? Are they going to have more stress within the family? Um, they're worried about not having enough time to make the right decision. They're emotionally overwhelmed. They don't have the support that they need or the guidance. They're scared that they're not going to honor their loved one the way that they truly would have wanted. And then there's the whole logistical complications, right? What's the paperwork and how do we coordinate all this, right? So what you have to become, right? You have to show them, and you probably are already this, but you have to show them on your website when they get there that the you are the lighthouse for them, right? And and your website makes them feel confident that you are going to give them the respectful and dignified service that they're looking for, that your pricing is clear and transparent, that they're going to receive empathetic, compassionate staff support, right? This is where the pictures come in too. They see that there are real people working there and that they're going to have contact with. Um, they want to know that everything is going to fall into place within a timely manner. They want to know that you are going to provide them with a personalized ceremony. You're going to be able to lower their stress. They want to see that they can trust you. This is why we need to have those those reviews front and center, right? We have to let them know that we're there to minimize any conflicts. Comprehensive guidance will be given to them. Our location is convenient. We'll give them a memorable tribute, and they're flexible options that are going to fit many services. We go back to the website that sells flowers as a funeral home. You're going to notice you do not feel any of this when you get to that website. So you need to ask yourself, go to your funeral home's website, look at it, and ask yourself, does it speak to my customer avatar? Does it speak to the family that's looking for me? Now, messaging that works, you want to make sure that you let them know we're here 24/7, right? And on the other slide of the website that you saw, you notice at the top it said 24/7. You want that to be prevalent so that they know that you're there for them. Transparent pricing and flexible options. Our clear and transparent pricing, along with flexible service options, help you plan a meaningful tribute without hidden costs. That gives them a sense of security, right? Guidance and support every step of the way. This is just some sample copy of what we write and put on the website so that people get this feeling, right? Our experienced staff provides comprehensive guidance and empathetic support throughout the entire planning process, making it as stress-free as possible. So this is messaging that works. Now, when you speak to your ideal customer on your website, right, and you have these options, these are earlier in the presentation, I mentioned design principles, user interface, user experience. So you want to use design principles that separate different ideas and make them stand out so people can easily find them. If someone gets to your website and you offer immediate help, but that's buried in the copy, right? It's bulked into a paragraph. They won't see that. So that's where the design and the placement of these things are just so important, right? Now, this is another site for a funeral home. Again, using just the team image, right? It may take a little time to coordinate this. We send out a photographer with the funeral homes that we work with. You get everyone together, but we want to get a great image of the people so that people understand that there's a story behind them. Put yourself out there, put yourself front and center, put your funeral directors out there front and center, because people want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And this is just a great way for them to feel comfortable when they get to your website, right? Um, Again, the video. We want to speak to people in different modalities and allow people to see your chapels, right? This way, if I get to a website and I have a hard understanding or hard, yeah, if I have a hard way to picture what it looks like inside, how do I know that this isn't a beautiful website with and inside it's I'm sorry, a beautiful website, but the funeral home inside is just trash, right? I want to see it, and this is a great way to see it. Just have some video of your chaplains. Now here we go. In addition, we want people to see our testimonials. We want to see people to see our reviews, right? We want to have a dedicated section of our website that houses the reviews and really paints a story of great service, right? So when people get to your website, they can see how many reviews you have, and they see that you're one of those that are almost a 5 star, which is great, because having 399 reviews and 5 stars is almost impossible, and it almost seems unrealistic, right? So you paid for them, so having really 4.85 out of 5 stars based on 399 reviews, right? This way people can see that this is a very active home and people are having a great experience. In addition to this allows people this will also send signals to Google about what a great funeral home you are, so that you will also rank at the top of the map when people are searching. Now, is your website mobile friendly? And I just want to hammer this home. I know that I mentioned it earlier, and I put, here you have the example again, but really I want to hammer home the importance of your website, of the ability to click a button and call, and not have to, copy and paste a phone number, right? If someone gets to your website and they want to call you and they have to hit the screen over and over again, and nothing happens, this is frustrating, right? So you want to have, just a click to call button there above the fold, and for that site to load fast. As you see here, it's 3 out of 5 consumers search for local businesses on their smartphone, and I would say that number is not specific to the funeral industry. I would say that in the funeral hunt industry, it's probably higher. So as you see there, that click to call that you see at the bottom of that screen, that's what you want, right? You want people just to be able to click there and get in touch with you. Now, live chat, I think, really, I'm very bullish on it. I think that it's the way of the future. Only 3 to 10% of visitors to your website take action, whether they fill out a form or they call. So you figure, you know, if you're converting, you're probably most sites are converting at about 5%, 3 to 5%, right? So that means that 95% of people aren't taking action, right? Um, you just you want them to be able to have that way. They want to talk to someone now. You want them to be able to talk to someone right away. We have that on our website, as you see, funeralmarketingpros.com. If you have a question, there's a widget there. You click on it, you fill out your information, and we're able to start chatting with you right away. So let's review some of the key ideas here, right? You want to add real, authentic images of your team to the homepage and throughout the website. You want to add video elements to your website, right? You can have a website welcome video, videos for each of your service. By services, I mean whether you're pre-need, right? You have a video of your chapel, video explaining why someone should contact you versus the competition, right? family owned, maybe in service, maybe throw it in their face that you have 500 reviews and a 4.85 rating, that your pricing is transparent. Let them hear that. Again, you want to showcase your online reviews more prominently on your homepage, and you really want to have your basics in order. You want to have your phone number in the right hand corner, ensure that there's a web form that the customers can fill out, put in your authority symbols, update your calls to action on each page so that they speak to your customer avatar, right? If you have a page dedicated to pre-need, you know that you are probably not talking to the sandwich generation. You are not talking to a 45-year-old. That is more often than not someone that's older, someone that has actually just been widowed. These are the things that how are you going to speak to them? How do you want them to contact you? Take that into consideration. Adding live chat to your website for me is an absolute must in this industry, and offer clients the option to book a meeting with a funeral director online so that they are ready, because they have so much going on. They're in a very mentally, they just have so much going through their minds. They want to get this portion kind of out of the way, and they can't pick up the phone and call you probably because of where they are, but they're searching probably on their phone. At least that they feel like, okay, I know in 2 days I'm gonna have some time. I can go meet with a funeral director. Let me just schedule this meeting with them, right? And then they feel like, okay, the idea there is to stop searching. The idea there is that they feel like they completed the action that they started taking, and now they don't have to worry about that until they have the actual meeting that's coming up, right? Offer clients, sorry. Next, I want to talk about the power of automation, right? When it comes to conversion, we want the website to be built so that people can contact us, and then we want to be able to make sure that we're following up with those people as quickly as possible. And this really is going to increase the number of families that we serve. So the problem is that 50 to 60% of inbound leads um, don't convert, and something like 90% of web forms they fill out, they don't fill out. So uh they'll send you their name. They may send you their name and address, and then that kind of sometimes sits somewhere, and when it does, you just lost someone. You did not gain a new family to work with. um so these leads have to be followed up with immediately. And if you follow up with them immediately and they don't answer, you need to follow up with them another 5 to 7 times. But as we all know, sometimes we're too busy to do that. Especially, we all know that many people today are wearing many different hats inside of a funeral home. So, say that you're with a family or in the middle of a service, someone called in, someone called in, the receptionist answered, asked for you to get back to them or someone else. These people need to be followed up with right away. The great thing is, um, hang on. Here we go. The great thing is that if we leverage automation, we can get back to them within 2 minutes. Okay. And if someone has called your number, your automation, so that if someone has called your number, then and you miss that call because you just can't answer it because it's not right to actually answer it, we can automatically set this up so that the system will send them a text and say, hey, I'm really sorry I couldn't get back to you. I'm with a family at the moment, but how can I help you? Or give them another number to call, right? Um, we can even set up alerts that will alert other phone numbers that this call was missed so that they can get back to them right away. The other portion of um, automation that I'd like to touch on is automating the review part, right? We've done this and it really works well. A lot of people have asked me, how, as a funeral home, how do I get reviews? And we're going to have a workshop probably in the near future on reputation management and getting reviews. But the idea is basically this: when someone, we program this so that you fill out a form and you say, okay, or you give us access to a calendar, and we say, okay, these are the services that are happening on these dates. After those services happen, you give the system the authorization to then contact those people, typically 10 to 14 days after, and then start to send them a thank you message, or send them a thank you message after their service, and then down the road, maybe a week later, send them a request to leave a review along with a link. And then we will also answer all the reviews, both thanking them, and if there's a negative review, we also address it. So people see that you are proactive. So automations today play a huge role in how this is done. And of course, when you're doing this, when you are automating your lead follow-up, when someone's contacting your funeral home and you're able to follow up, this really makes a difference in your numbers, right? And again, this is just simple math. An example of having that automation in place versus not having it is going from a conversion rate. Now, this is, someone has already contacted you, right? And are we going to be able to capture them? Really, we should be 70% of families that contact us should be scheduling their services with us. The problem is that people, they miss these opportunities. But with automations in place, you can make it happen. And if we look at, again, using the same math, $4,500 average, you're looking at, the difference between 135,000 and 315,000. These are the conversion factors that will make all of the difference. So make every lead you generate, this makes every lead you generate more valuable to you, right? So for us, this is part, implementing the website, implementing the conversion factors, implementing the automations. This is part of the strategy that we have within our program, right? This helps accelerate your growth. So if you become a client, we're going to put all of these things in place for you. You're going to have a website that's built to convert. You're going to be leveraging the organic side of your website, so organic SEO, paid ads on Google. We also believe in database marketing, so you'll be able to, you don't want the last interaction that you have with the family to be the bill, right? What we want to do is we want to capture that family as, now we are the funeral home of choice for that family. That family will always come back to us, right? So again, just I'm sharing the checklist with you so that you guys again can just implement this. This is also in your workbook. And what I'd like to do now is just, if you have your workbook open, that's great. If not, you can go ahead and just jot this down. But, pick three things. What I find is oftentimes when we are at workshops or webinars, there's just so much information that's coming at us that we get information overload. We want to do everything and we end up doing nothing, right? So what we want is, what I found that works is just pick the top three things that you can change on your website that is going to increase the number of conversions that your funeral home gets. Now, if you'd like some help with this, and you're like, Oscar seems like he has a good design team. It seems like they understand how to speak to my avatar. They understand how to build the websites and make them convert. They know how to make things show up organically. and they can help me grow my business, we'd love the opportunity to connect with you. And if that sounds like you, what I'm offering right now is a free. This is all free analysis of your website online. We're gonna create a custom keyword list depending on your location. We will run ranking reports. We want to know digitally if someone's going and searching for a funeral home near me, is your funeral home coming up at the top or not, right? We want to look at the online directory listings. Are they consistent? Is the name, address, and phone number consistent in all of them? Because if they're not, it's causing issues. And are you listed in all of the right directories? We want to look at your online reviews, your reputation. Do you have a mechanism in place to gather the reviews? Do you have social presence? Are you present in your community? And then we want to look at the conversion effectiveness on your website as well. If that sounds like something that sounds interesting to you, we'd love to talk with you. You can do that either by calling us 855-674-1008 or going to funeralmarketingpros.com/strategy. We also have a QR code here. You take out your phone and scan it, and it'll take you right to that page where you can schedule. I'll ask you a few questions on that page, and you can schedule a call with us. And other than that, I really hope that you found value in this webinar. And I want to thank you for being here. Thanks for being, a participant. Thank you for your time. I'd love to hear some feedback from you on this. Was it helpful? What part of this were you most excited about implementing? And if you have any questions regarding any of the things that I mentioned, thank you so much and have a great day.